Hey friends, my name is Alan Lee and I've been a handyman for about 7 years now. We actually started up our business in August of 2016 and I wanted to share my startup story and what that looked like. So around August 2016, I decided to start doing this handyman business part-time in the nights and weekends, basically to earn some more money to basically pay for a business seminar that we were going to be going to. And I ended up doing this in nights and weekends and I absolutely just fell in love with it. And we actually went to the business seminar in about October of 2016. And I really got the knowledge and the information as far as like a business perspective goes in order to start this thing full time. So we made the decision to start up our handyman business full time in January 1st of 2017. And because of that, in November, my wife and I sat down and we made the choice that if I wanted to go full time, I need to work every single day and every single weekend in the month of December in order to get the clientele so that I could go full time in January. So every night and every weekend in December, I was working in the handyman business. So my main career, my main job was I was an automotive technician. I was an automotive technician for about 10 years before I made the transition to start my own handyman business. So I was a technician, automotive technician in the day and a handyman at night. Basically changed that cape over and went to work. And that consisted of a lot of work. I mean, I remember a lot of times, I remember this one job in particular, I had a headlamp on, I was holding a flashlight with a weed whacker and I was weed whacking this lady's lawn because basically her lawn, the weeds were probably this high and she wanted me to come in and do a yard cleanup for her. And the only time that I had to do it was after my day job, and so had a headlamp, had a flashlight. It was pretty crazy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta put in the hard work to make things happen. So another thing that I did that was super beneficial in the month of December is I started investing in marketing. The way that I started investing in marketing is obviously I had a website. I went to my good friend Jason Call over at handymanmarketingpros.com. He created a great website for me, and that was awesome to bring in a lot of organic traffic offline or online. And then I also started investing in marketing on Yelp. So I give $300 a month to Yelp to basically market. And in the month of December, my plan or my goal was to schedule jobs that came in that were full day jobs for the first week in January. So that by the time I started in January 1st, I had 1 full week of work ahead of me so that I could actually have something on the table or lined up so that I wouldn't be just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. And sure enough, by the time January 1st came, I had the whole first week of January lined up with jobs. I had about $500 jobs every single day that first week in January. And that was quite interesting. A few stories from that first week in January. My second job was replacing a bunch of sprinkler heads in this guy's front lawn because the city came around and they basically, tagged all of his sprinklers or some of his sprinklers that were leaking and basically wasting water. So basically the ones that were flagged, I told him that I would come and I would replace them. This kind of shows how little I knew about actual functionality of certain things. Is when I went out, I'm like, okay, this is a piece of cake. I'm just gonna unscrew these heads and I'm gonna screw them back in. Well, come to find out, these were the type of rotary pop-up sprinkler heads where the PVC actually comes in the side. So I had to do a whole bunch of digging, had to cut the PVC pipe, had to go find this type of sprinkler head. The materials were quite a bit more than what I had originally planned. But that's how you learn, is you make mistakes. Oh, and I also forgot to mention on that second day where I did all those sprinkler heads, it was pouring down rain that day. It was probably the worst possible day to do something outside and I was completely drenched by the end of the day. But I made $500 that day, so I was loving it. So that's kind of my startup journey in a nutshell. Basically from there, that first week in January, I was blessed to get calls keep coming in from people finding me on Yelp, people finding my website on Google, where I actually booked out a whole nother week and I booked out a whole nother week. And then eventually I was booked out for 2 months. At one point I was booked out for 3 months. And that's really when I decided that I needed to, or realized that I needed to hire a CSR, someone to answer the phones, because I wasn't able to answer the phones. I was so busy actually doing the work. So it's kind of interesting because I had this plan to set up this handyman business, but I realized pretty quickly that it's more than just going out and fixing homes. There's a whole bunch of business stuff built into this business itself, is that you actually have to take time and answer the phone calls and return phone calls and go meet with people to do estimates and write up those estimates and follow up with those people. And then after you do the job, you have to follow up with those people, send them thank you cards, Like you have to keep this business thing going. It's more than what I thought was, I'll just show up and do some work for people and make some money and then that'll be it. There's a whole lot more to this whole business thing than I actually thought. And that has kind of launched me into a whole lot of growth these last 7 years, where I've actually realized that there's a whole nother business side to this handyman business thing. And I've actually started up a business coaching business where I actually help other handyman start up or grow their handyman businesses, basically by taking the mistakes that I've gone through and the things that I've learned and helping people out learn those things a lot quicker than it's taken me to learn. So a lot of our coaching clients have really, kind of gotten to the point where I'm at, in a year and 2 years and 3 years, rather than it taking 7 years to get there. So it's actually been quite a blessing. At the end of the day, when you encounter issues or problems or things you didn't expect, turning those into the positive and figuring out how you can use those for your own benefit and the benefit of others is really the way to go about it. So friends, if you don't know, this is day 79 of our 100-day video challenge. And basically what that is, back September 1st, I made a challenge to make a YouTube video every single day for the next 100 business days. Now that's Monday through Friday. Obviously we took yesterday off because it was Christmas. Side note, I hope y'all had a fantastic Christmas. I sure did. But basically this 100-day video challenge has been awesome. If this is your first time watching it, go back to day one. We've covered a whole wealth of information, things that going back to when I first started, things that I've learned, things that I did wrong, things that I think you should probably do differently. So definitely go back, check it out, and we would love for you to stick around. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment on this video. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this challenge that we are doing. And also, I'd love to hear about your Christmas. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys here tomorrow for day 80.